My wife cheated on me with a doctor thinking I was dead, but I'm alive and caught her cheating. Now she's sorry. After 38 years of marriage, my wife cheated on me with our doctor, thinking I was clueless. We've got 3 grown married kids and 5 precious grandkids, and she pulls this crap. I've worked hard to be debt-free, and with just 2 years left until retirement, she drops this bombshell. She said she was in Arizona for an educators' conference she had to attend, and I even dropped her lying self off at the airport, planning to pick her up Thursday. But a coworker of mine, who was in Vegas for a PBR event, sent me a picture of her in a casino with our primary care physician. It's Christmas time, and all the kids are coming here. I was looking forward to hunting with my son and grandsons. Now I'm torn about whether to blow this thing wide open or play it cool until after Christmas. I could gather more evidence if I just pick her up and act as if everything is normal. But the other choice is to devastate my children at this terrible time of year. This woman sang a solo in church Sunday before flying out on Monday to spend the week with the doctor. I never suspected her of cheating in over 40 years of our relationship, and I damn sure never did. The life I was so secure in is over. I'm glad my parents aren't here to see this. I might just catch a flight tomorrow and confront them. The worst part is, both my brothers are dead, and there's nobody I can tell this to. Maybe the pastor, though she's probably messing around with him too. Update 1. I hired a lawyer and a private investigator this afternoon. We all met at the lawyer's office, and they both advised me on the course of action to take. I arranged for her sister to pick her up tomorrow, and I'm at my camp for a few days. So far, I've managed to keep from telling her I know what she's done. It's hard not to confront both of them, but if I can keep from it, I'll be better able to protect myself and gather more evidence. I can't sue him for alienation of affection, but I intend to ruin his future. Update 2. I'm going home tonight. My mother-in-law, who's 84 and widowed for 12 years, will be devastated by my wife's cheating. My wife has 3 married sisters who are all in long-term marriages, and they're coming to our house for Christmas tomorrow night. I've grilled steaks for them every Christmas since my father-in-law died. If I don't go home, it will raise red flags. I considered faking the flu and staying here, but I decided to go home. If I don't, it will affect the plans to come back with my son and grandsons. I haven't confronted her yet. We've talked some, but mainly texted. I'm positive she suspects nothing. I gave the gate and house code to the private investigator, and he took an IT guy to access her desktop while she was at work. Somehow he's receiving her texts now from my cloud. I don't understand how he did it, but he did. I'm not in contact with the private investigator or lawyer every day, and I have no idea what he's found. I have an appointment to meet with him and my attorney next Friday morning. Update 3. I came home from the camp last Thursday evening. She was home, and I was exhausted from not being able to sleep, so our conversation was minimal. Friday night, we had our Christmas gathering with her mother and 3 sisters at our house. I was able to pull it off without her suspecting anything. Saturday, I was gone most of the day, and after church Sunday, I returned to my camp. My son and grandson met me there Sunday night, and we hunted all week. I returned home tonight. We have no plans for tomorrow. Our children and grandchildren will attend church with us Sunday, and then come here for Christmas lunch and gifts. I've managed to control my emotions so no one suspects the life-changing situation I'm in. I reconsidered my method of revealing her affair. I'm not going to confront her on Christmas. I have an appointment with my attorney Tuesday morning to get all the evidence and divorce papers. I intend to have my son and 2 daughters come to our house for a family meeting to expose her affair and confront her. I want to do this Tuesday night. I'm unsure how I'll confront the doctor and his wife, but I intend to destroy his reputation and career by any means available. Update 4. We made it through Christmas with my children, grandchildren, and in-laws. Monday morning, I saw my pastor and told him the situation. He facilitated a meeting with me and the doctor's wife. We agreed to confront our spouses on Monday night, requiring them to write a detailed letter of the affair. I didn't allow my wife to say anything to me. I told her I knew she was in Vegas and who she was with. I told her to write the letter of detail, and if there was any contradiction to the evidence I had, there would be no chance of reconciliation. Tuesday morning, I met with my attorney, obtained the collected evidence, and received advice. Tuesday afternoon, I met with the doctor's employer, demanding his termination, which happened that day. Update 5. I'm going to try to answer your questions. 1. Did you ask her why? Of course, I asked. She said she didn't know why, describing herself as feeling like an addict, knowing she was destroying her life but unable to stop. She told our children no child should ever have to be disappointed or embarrassed by their mother's actions. 2. How did she act? She is completely destroyed, remorseful, and begging for forgiveness from me and our children. She understands what she's done. 3. How did my children react? One told her, and the others agreed it would have been easier to bury me than this. 4. Do I want to be married? Sure I do, which is why I never cheated on my wife. 5. Have I met the doctor's wife and told her? Yes, we've met twice and communicated by phone and text several times. 6. Do I not care for his family by having him fired? I care more for the next patient's wife he gets involved with. 7. Am I divorcing her? I don't know. 8. Have I sought therapy? Not yet. What I need is for this to go away. If you know anyone who can make that happen, I'll do therapy. Every situation is unique in its elements, personalities, and complexities. I could have dealt with this differently at a different time in my life. It's easy to know what to do when you're behind a keyboard. Some comments are without knowing every nuance I'm dealing with, but others have been a great source of strength. One Redditor has been a valuable source of wisdom and encouragement to me. He has helped me in more ways than I can thank him for. Update 6. I had a brother who was 14 years younger than me, a college professor who died in a motorcycle accident in 2017. He left one daughter, now 24, married and living in another state. My sister-in-law has never remarried. I called her last night to find out when my niece was going back home. She's staying with her husband's parents this week, who are about 40 minutes from my sister-in-law. My children are smothering me, so I'm taking a road trip to meet my great-nephew. I will arrive late tonight. I asked her to reserve a hotel room, but she insisted I stay with her and watch movies and eat ice cream. I haven't spoken to or seen my wife since Tuesday night. I've blocked her number. I called my son and told him where I was going, instructing him to go by the office and lease a rental property my company owns. It's a renovated house, and I told him to inform his mother to move in. She is to pay rent to my son, who will pay my company. I'm having new keypads installed on the gate and doors to my house Wednesday, so if she needs her stuff, now is the time to fetch it. Update 7. When I called my sister-in-law, I told her I was coming alone to see my niece and her new baby. She asked why my wife wasn't coming, and I just said there were some issues I would explain when I got there. I arrived around midnight, and she had just taken a hot pound cake out of the oven, the best thing I've eaten in weeks. I gave her all the details of my saga. I teared up a few times but broke down and wept as I went through everything with her. She was very supportive and wept with me. She stroked my ego, and I felt better after we talked. I went upstairs to bed around 3 o'clock yesterday morning. Yesterday morning, she cooked me bacon and eggs for breakfast and told me that while I may make the rules and run the show back home, not at her house. She then proceeded to tell me my schedule. 1. I had a haircut appointment at 1 o'clock. I needed one anyway, so I agreed. 2. After the haircut, we were going to Dillard's to buy some clothes that fit me, as I've lost over 30 pounds in 3 weeks. 3. I was going to a friend's house for a bonfire and fireworks last night. 4. I was going to church with her today and visit her parents this afternoon. 5. She is cooking supper tonight and her daughter and son-in-law are coming over. 6. Her son-in-law is taking me deer hunting tomorrow on an 8,000-acre timber company property. He's off all week, and if I want to stay and hunt all week, she will wash my clothes and feed me. I've never done it before, so I don't know what to expect. 7. We're not going to talk about my problems again until I leave to go home. So, I did what I was told. She went with me to her regular salon. On the way there, she said she was going to use me to have some fun when introducing me, giving them my first and middle name. I asked her why, and she just laughed and said to play along. My middle name is my mother's maiden name, and that's how she introduced me to her hairstylist. During my haircut, the stylist asked where I was from, and I said Detroit. My accent clearly didn't match, but my sister-in-law never missed a beat and said I was a logger. Next stop was Dillard's. I haven't been shopping for anything in years and ended up buying 3 new pants, 4 shirts, 2 pairs of shoes, a tie, and a Hart Schaffner Marx suit. According to her, it's the only suit my brother would wear. I didn't know he was so particular about his clothes. I also bought a new belt. The The suit had to be hemmed, and she convinced them to do it while we waited. On the way home, she told me I was going to be her date for the party in church. She told me to look at her like I looked at a new gun so they'd buy it. I played along, except at the party, I was from Atlanta and sold road graders, married and divorced 4 times. At church this morning, we arrived late and left early because she didn't want to be struck by lightning for lying in church. She sat close to me and held my hand when we walked out. I've had a good time with my 46-year-old sister-in-law, laughing genuinely for the first time in 3 weeks. I'm going to hunt tomorrow and might stay until Wednesday, but I have to be at work Friday. I've talked to my son a couple of times. He thinks they need to get her some medical help. She isn't saying much and stays in her bedroom at my daughter's house most of the time. Her phone is dead, and he and my other daughter communicate with her through my youngest. The doctor's wife sent her a long text, calling her everything but a child of God. I haven't communicated with my wife. She asked where I was and told my daughter I'd never forgive her, and she doesn't blame me. My son said she looks like death. I see no path to reconciliation, but I'm not filing for divorce until I'm completely sure. Some say divorce and reconcile if I change my mind, but that seems like a waste of time, energy, and money. When I decide to divorce, it will be final. I also won't sue the doctor if I don't divorce. If I do divorce, I'll sue him to defray the divorce settlement, but otherwise, I don't want his money. I've come to terms with the fact this won't end soon, and my life will never be the same. I started keeping a journal today, realizing it helps to organize my thoughts by writing them down. Update 8. My daughters took my wife to the ER yesterday morning. She was dehydrated, and tests showed her kidney function wasn't what it should be. She was exhibiting signs of confusion and was admitted. A psych evaluation has also been ordered. They expect her to be in the hospital most of the week. My son contacted her sisters and told them she was hospitalized and that I was out of town. Her sisters and mother are unaware of her affair to my knowledge. I plan on sitting down with her mother and oldest sister this weekend. Looking back, I should have done that this past Friday before I left town. I'm still at my sister-in-law's house. I hunted yesterday, but it's raining today, so I didn't go this morning. Last night's menu was fried steak, mashed potatoes and gravy, homemade biscuits, apple cobbler, and ice cream. My sister-in-law had a couple of things to do this morning, but instructed me to be dressed when she gets back and ready to do some rambling, whatever that means. I told her rainy days were good for 2 things, and I wasn't sleepy. She replied, "Your children don't need both parents in the hospital from dehydration, so I'm going rambling. I'm glad I'm here. I don't want to talk to my friends just yet, nor do I want to be at work. I have my laptop and phone and an assistant coworker who's been with me 25 years, so business is conducted as usual." He's aware of the affair because he was the one who told me about the Vegas trip. While hashing all this out on Reddit has been helpful. I know you're tiring of my posts. I've started a journal and can just write there if you've lost interest. Thanks for your messages. Many have been thought-provoking and helpful. My mind is in the clearest place it's been since the text I received about her and the doctor. Update 9. I called her sister and gave her a basic summary of the affair and what led to my wife's hospitalization. She was genuinely shocked and profusely apologetic and sympathetic. My mother-in-law is leaving tomorrow morning on a trip with 3 other widows she's friends with. My daughters call them the BHH gang blue-haired hens. They like to take bus tours. Her sister said she wouldn't tell her about the affair or psych evaluation, just that my wife's condition didn't seem serious enough for me to return home. She also said my mother-in-law was very worried about me when they left my house, saying I didn't look myself. The sisters will help my daughters and daughter-in-law with the hospital stay and take her home until she can move from our house. I called my youngest daughter and told her to get a check from the office, cash it, buy a card, and take it to her grandmother's house, signing it with my name stamp to put a note in it to enjoy her trip and that I love her. Thanks, Reddit, for catching something I needed to do but hadn't thought of. Update 10. Rambling included the grocery store, dry cleaners, paying the electric bill, Home Depot, and a test at a clinic. $112 and 15 minutes later, I learned I have no STD. My sister-in-law, in a very matter-of-fact manner, explained, "Ain't no man with a junkie monkey staying at my house." So, for those advising me to go through this humiliating experience, rest easy. I'm clean. My wife's kidney function has improved. But according to a psychiatric evaluation, she had a psychotic break. She's confused about where she is and believes we were in a traffic accident and I'm dead. She's upset that my funeral was held without her. She's crying and mumbling things they can't understand. They moved her to a hospital specializing in mental trauma, expecting her to recover fully in days or weeks. She can have no contact with anyone for 10 days. My middle daughter will be the family contact for updates until she can be visited. This has been an unbelievable, unnecessary mess. I'm still at my sister-in-law's, and she scheduled me a 9:30 appointment tomorrow with a psychiatrist she saw for 2 years after my brother's death. When I went to get my pajamas, I discovered all my perfectly good white Fruit of the Loom boxer shorts were gone, replaced by boxer briefs from Duluth Trading Company. The band says, "Go Buck Naked," and they're red, black, neon blue, maroon, and dark and light gray. When I asked her about it, she said, "The 60s called and want them ugly drawers back." Update 11. I returned home Thursday night. I had an appointment Thursday morning with a psychologist my sister-in-law used after my brother's death. It wasn't a good meeting. In fairness to the counselor, I went in reluctantly and angry. I felt uncomfortable discussing the details of my wife's affair with her. I had to be at work Friday for a contract meeting requiring my presence and signature. I met with my children Friday afternoon to discuss their mother's status. The clinician requested we submit a plan for her discharge to help prepare her treatment. I remained firm she couldn't return home to live, and they should prepare her to move into a rental property. Her status report today was encouraging. They want family sessions as early as this week. I explained to my children I wouldn't attend any family sessions. Her recovery isn't on me, and I'm not participating in it. They may not fully agree, but that's my approach. I committed to not filing for divorce in the next 6 months. I went to church Sunday and sat where we've sat for nearly 40 years. None of the doctor's family was there, and I didn't inquire about their status. I met this afternoon with a psychologist recommended by my pastor. It was a productive meeting for me. He's 74 years old, works part-time from an office behind his home, and explained the goals he'd like to reach with me. I agreed. I liked him and felt comfortable. We'll meet weekly. An investigator is scheduled to come to my office from the State Medical Board Examiner's office Wednesday morning following a complaint filed by my attorney. I'll give a sworn deposition concerning the affair. I resent every step I have to take because of her affair. I don't believe she's faking a mental breakdown, but I'm finding it hard to be sympathetic. Update 12. Not much has happened recently, so I'll give a brief summary. 1. My wife is still in treatment and agreed to stay for 30 days. She's better, but my children concur she needs more in-house treatment. I haven't spoken to her directly since December 27th. She withdrew from her retirement account to cover costs. 2. I haven't sat down with my mother-in-law. She and her daughters visited my wife. I texted her I'd come by and talk when I felt I could. She's called to check on me several times, sad but strong. 3. No news on the doctor, but his house is for sale. I don't know if they're separated or together. 4. I've met for counseling twice and look forward to my meeting Monday. It's helped me. 5. The affair is well known and rumored vigorously. I continue to go to church and hold my head up, though I'm thoroughly embarrassed by her actions. 6. My children and grandchildren are well. I've kept busy at work in managing my son's re-election campaign. 7. I'm noticing more pretty women than ever these days. I'm not sure if that's good or bad, just something I've become aware of. Update 13. My wife was released from the hospital Tuesday and went to a rental property my company owns. It's an older house but completely renovated. I haven't spoken to her since December 27th. She's written 2 letters expressing remorse and seeking forgiveness. I haven't responded, except telling my children I've read them and will contact her when I'm ready to discuss the past and future. We have a housekeeper who's worked for my wife for over 20 years. I sent men to our house, and under my daughter's direction, they moved a bedroom suite and necessities to set up a comfortable place for her. They purchased new furniture, and it's been ready for her release for over a week. She's arranged for the housekeeper to be employed every day for as long as necessary, providing a driver and sitter. Her sisters are staying at night as long as needed. I had supper with my mother-in-law Tuesday night and explained my position. She was very understanding and supportive. My son told me his grandmother visited his mother last night and was less than sympathetic, not sparing my wife's feelings. This was the first time they discussed my wife's betrayal. I'm going to my sister-in-law's tomorrow. She has tickets for a concert Saturday night. We'll fly to North Carolina and return Sunday afternoon. I look forward to doing something different. Counseling is helping me compartmentalize my life. Update 14. I'll try to give an update on my status. I continue weekly counseling sessions, finding them helpful in organizing, processing, and acting upon my thoughts, emotions, and plans. Many have asked how I'm doing. The easiest way to answer is I'm fine, but I'm also heartbroken, angry, lonely, and extremely sad about what our life and marriage have become. I'll try to answer your questions. 1. I've sat down with my wife several times to talk about our situation, how we got here, and the specific details of her betrayal. We've done this alone, with our children, and in her counseling sessions. 2. I can't reconcile with her now for several reasons. The affair was physical, included planning a trip, and she will require medical treatment for the rest of her life due to a psychotic breakdown caused by her actions. This isn't cancer or dementia, where I'd stand by her. The person I loved was honest, full of life, joyful, respected, and beautiful. That person is gone. She's broken, sad, pitiful, and medicated. She's retired. 3. I've asked my lawyer to draw up a settlement agreement and disclosed all financial information. My children must be satisfied I've treated her fairly. 4. She remains remorseful, begging for forgiveness, and unwilling to talk about a settlement or divorce. 5. My children would like me to reconcile with their mother, but they seem to understand my position. Easter was a big family weekend for us, but this Easter, they did their own family things. My wife and I weren't included. It seems they're trying to find a new normal. 6. I know nothing about the doctor's case status before the state board, but he's working in an emergency room in a neighboring state. Thanks for watching. Like and comment what you think about this story. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.